Welcome back to another edition of Handsome Guys Talk Hoops. If you know us from the How About Them Celtics podcast, welcome in. And if you don't, welcome anyway. Subscribe to the channel. We appreciate you very much. We do these videos to talk some NBA outside of our normal Celtics stuff. Also, if you're here and you like the NBA content, but not so much Celtics, we do talk NBA during the Celtics shows. You can just skip in the description. I have timestamps and you can see where we switch because it goes from green to blue, and you can see when we talk about NBA. We do talk NBA there too. You just got to skip through the Celtics stuff. And
we know ball, so you don't want to miss it.
We do know ball. Objectively, Handsome Guys Talk Hoops. How about them Celtics? We know ball. But today we have an article from The Athletic about which NBA teams are best positioned to trade for a star. This offseason, it sounds like there's a lot of chatter going on about, James Harden could go here. Maybe Cat gets traded. Maybe Dame could get traded. Maybe, Trae Young, there was this smoke this season. There's a lot of stars around the league. Bradley Beal, who could end up on new teams this summer. So which teams around the NBA are positioned to trade for them? This is from The Athletic, Fred Katz, James Edwards, and Mike Vorkunov. Which teams could trade for a star this summer? So let's get into it. As I'm not logged into my Athletic account, so we'll be right back. All right, we logged in. We got it going. I was logged in the wrong tab. But number one, the Oklahoma City Thunder, Team Vorkunov, untradeable. The only player he deems as untradeable on the Thunder is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They can trade up to 12 first-round picks.
Look at them all, just hanging
out. Including 5 unprotected picks. Vorkunov says, we're spoiling it a little there. He says, it's wild how well positioned the Thunder are to trade for a star. They have a whole roster of attractive young players. Shai is off limits, but there's Giddey, Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren still there as potential headliners to a deal. They have all of their future first-round picks, plus 8 more from other teams, including 2 unprotected from the Clippers, not to mention swap rights with the Rockets and Clippers in 25. Thunder wanted a star, though there's no indication they are in that place. Who can beat general manager Sam Presti's hand? Of any team in the league, the Thunder are obviously the best position. The question is, do they want to do that right now?
Yeah, that's where I was going to go.
Yeah, it's just, it seems like as much as they could trade for a star right now, and they would be a playoff team if they added a star. Obviously, they were a play-in team this season with Shai, and so you have to imagine, okay, they add another piece in here. They pair Shai with the star. They would be able to take that leap forward and be in the postseason. It just seems there's no use in rushing it right now, it feels like, right?
Yeah, they're not really in position just yet to make the get over the hump trade.
Yeah.
They still have maybe another year of trying to figure out which guys are part of the future, which guys are not. Because, oddly enough, the CBA is going to screw this OKC team as much as anybody. All the talk is, the Warriors got targeted, which they probably did. Even though they kind of did things the right way. I mean, yeah, they got KD and then eventually made D'Lo into Andrew Wiggins out of that. But, I mean, Curry homegrown, Klay Thompson homegrown, Draymond Green homegrown, Kevin Looney homegrown, Poole. Like, they hit on all these draft picks. They found guys that fit their system, and they're getting punished for it. OKC has nothing but draft picks, so they're eventually going to run into a similar issue. They probably won't need the MLE if they just make the right draft picks. They can just use the draft salaries to fill that slot and hopefully hit that way. But again, I still think they have a few more things to see with their core, which ones are going to be part of it, which ones they actually do want to move on from to bring in whoever the star may be. And I also feel like the star market is not right for OKC right now.
I will say, I wouldn't hate them doing something like a middle ground trade, keeping all their players, saying like, hey, Toronto, you wanted 3 first-round picks. Here's 3 first-round picks for OG Anunoby. This can help us push forward a little bit without giving up all our assets. Like, I wouldn't hate a middle ground trade like that for like a B tier star. I'm not like, but going it all in like, Karl Anthony Towns, let's give up 5 firsts and Josh Giddey for this. Like, that doesn't seem like they're ready to make that trade. And also, you look at all the teams mentioned here, or the players, mentioned here, Giddey, Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren. Those are all players I feel like OKC could see being a part of their future. And so giving up on any of them this early on just seems foolish.
It's too soon. Next.
Agree. Agree. Next team, we spoiled it a little. The Orlando Magic, Team Cats, Red Cats, untradeable. The only one, listed is Paolo Banchero. Can trade up to 7 first-round picks, 4 unprotected. And let's read a little what Cats has to say. I consider the New Orleans Pelicans as they could potentially build a package around an established stud in Brandon Ingram, but I went with Orlando. The Magic can make a monster offer even without including Banchero or Franz Wagner, who could end up as the best player from their respective draft classes. Many of the other hypothetical trade packages in this draft are contingent on picks so far out that the analytics models will predict them to fall in the middle of the first round. The Magic, let me scroll down here without spoiling. The Magic can offer good ones right now, numbers 6 and 11 in the June 22nd draft, and also deal up to 5 more first, including 4 unprotected. No player would cost so much, and that's before even getting to Wagner. If the Thunder weren't such hoarders, Orlando's package would be impossible to beat. Of the teams here, it feels like the Magic are ready to make that leap, and not that the Thunder aren't, but in terms of the glutton of talent on the roster, as well as they have 6 and 11. Are they really going to add 2 lottery picks to this rotation? So I feel like maybe packaging some of their talent, like Markelle Fultz, John Isaac, Jalen Suggs, or Cole Anthony, or Chuma Okeke, or the 6th pick, or the 11th pick, packaging a couple or 2 to 3 of those assets for an established point guard or a better 2 guard, right? An extra guard that can solidify their starting rotation. I can see this more than the Thunder, at least for this season, although it might still be rushing it.
No, I agree. It feels like it's time, oddly enough, after just one season.
Paolo's that guy, though. Paolo's nasty.
Paolo's ready to at least be on a playoff team.
Agree.
Whatever trade they make isn't going to make them into a title contender just yet. And I think it's about time for Orlando to get back into the playoffs. They haven't made the playoffs as a real team in probably 12 years. They've been in as the 7th seed and beat Toronto 1 game, and then that's the end of it. But they've never really been a threat. They haven't been since Dwight left, and it's time for them to get back on the horse. They have their player in Paolo. They have great supporting players. Franz Wagner has been pretty good since coming in the league. Cole Anthony's proved to be at least a scoring punch off the bench. If they don't want to move off of Fultz, I think he's quality at this point. He's fine. He's solid. He's a good starting caliber player in this league, I would say, when he's healthy. And I think he's had an okay stretch of health. Not the best since getting to Orlando. Not perfect. But when he is healthy for them, he's been really impactful.
60 games this season. Yeah. That's not bad.
It must have been the year before that he was out here.
Yeah, he only played 18 last season.
Yeah, I didn't want to get him mixed up. I know he was impactful, so...
He averaged
6 and 11.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Fultz averaged 14, 4, 5.5, and 1.5 steals on 51-31 splits. Not the best from 3, obviously, but that's never been his game. So probably his best season in the NBA so far this year with Orlando. So good for him. I mean, it's nice to see him actually getting out there on the court. But his salary, at the very least, combined with Gary Harris's salary or John Isaac's salary, with one of these lottery picks and Jalen Suggs could be enough to get you, if the Bulls blow it up, that could get you Zach LaVine, or if the Raptors blow it up, that could get you a nice mix of Anunoby and or Gary Trent, some of those assets, right? You could get another quality guy in here. Grant Williams, they're looking Grant Williams, apparently, that's a weird fit for them. It feels like they don't need another forward.
But it doesn't make a ton of sense. But what are you gonna do?
It feels like they need a point guard. I mean, as much as I don't think Dame would want to go there, they could probably put together a solid trade package for Dame.
One of the best, probably.
Well, yeah, realistically, you give up, what would it be? It'd be they probably would rather have Suggs than Fultz. So you'd give up maybe Suggs, John Isaac, Gary Harris, 6 and 11. The Blazers could start over with Anthony Simons, the 3rd pick, the 6th pick, the 11th pick.
Yeah, that's Jalen a lot of help. Right away.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
That 6 and 11 combo is going to be an interesting one. We have 2 weeks as we're recording this till the draft.
Even if they only give up 1, that's still a lottery pick you can trade.
I really hope no trades happen this weekend.
Yeah, because we can't record. Yeah. We can record. I'll be around.
This won't come out till Monday.
Oh, true. We have to scrap this. We'll see. Yeah, but anyways, shall we go to the last team? I think there's only 3 in here, but
okay. Yeah.
The Portland Trailblazers, says James Edwards. Only untradeable is Damian Lillard.
Wrong.
Is he untradeable?
Wrong. Just not true.
I know what he's saying, though, in terms of if their plan is to keep him, like that's the only guy they wouldn't trade in a deal. However, and at the same time, like if their direction is okay, let's trade Dame and rebuild, the third pick.
Yeah, this is trade
Simons,
for a star.
Yeah, if that's their goal. So, there's more than just 3. Sorry, let me almost spoiled another one. But Edwards saying, "Well, I'm in the camp of the Blazers trading Lillard and completely rebuilding around the third pick, Shaedon Sharpe and Anthony Simons." Which, in Edwards, in James' defense, that's a pretty goddamn good young core. Like that's a really good building block. I'm not sure that's the route Portland will take. If the goal remains to build a contender around Lillard, then the number 3 pick, Sharpe and Simons, comprise a very juicy offer that Portland can float around to teams in hopes of landing a second legitimate star. They've said they don't want to trade Sharpe. However, even so, Simons and the third pick is a pretty good offer. As Xfinity takes up half your screen, I apologize, but it's staying there. That's a good offer, though.
Yeah. They've got one more chance to maybe make a push for Lillard if they decide they want to do that. Edwards is right. It's probably time to give it up.
They're like
it's
Wizards.
just so obvious.
They're Wizards.
We just talked about Orlando.
Yeah.
That would be a fire package for Portland. You
Right?
get like a bunch of free guys to start with right away.
For real. Even so, like, even if you look at the teams that would probably be in a better position to want Lillard, like the Heat, you get Tyler Hero and you build around him and you get those picks and you could probably sneak out with a Nikola Jovic too, who's still 19, right? The Knicks, you get RJ Barrett quickly and or Toppin and their picks. That's a good package too. Like there's packages around the league that you could put next to what looks to be Scoot Henderson, Shaedon Sharpe, and Anthony Simons to form probably one of the better, like, and you can't even say they take the Knicks pick, the Knicks package, right, Sam? They roll out a starting lineup of Scoot Henderson, Anthony Simons, RJ Barrett, and then whatever forward center combo they want to bring in with Shaedon Sharpe off the bench, quickly off the bench, and maybe Toppin starting. You can't even convince me that that's going to be the worst team in the league. Like that off rip could be as intriguing as last year's Magic team was, right? Like Simons is a star. He's an all-star caliber talent, right? Scoot Henderson looks ready to lead a team at the very least. Shaedon Sharpe looks ready to burst out. RJ Barrett's a quality player. That pick could probably be like fighting for the 10 seed by the end of the season. So it's not even like their rebuild, if they trade Dame, is they're going to be the worst team in the league, but they just need to reset, focus on developing young talent and moving forward with a Scoot or a Brandon Miller, but it looks like it's going to be Henderson. But if they do decide, let's give Dame one more shot, the third pick in Anthony Simons is probably one of the better packages out there in the league for a star.
It's fair. I don't know why they do it, but
I disagree.
Whatever. They are on the list.
They're Wizards West. That's what they are. But
except they've made the conference finals.
It's true. Next up, Houston Rockets, number 4, untradeable NA. Anybody's tradable to say. Can trade up to 6 first-round picks, 4 unprotected from Vorkunov here. I was tempted to go with the Pelicans because of their assortment of picks and young players, but the Rockets are the choice because of many ways.
Everybody's just tempted to go with the Pelicans.
Yeah, and sneak peek. I wonder who's next. No player seems untradeable right now. Jalen Green is promising, but he doesn't seem off limits. Şengün is a delight to watch, but he's tradable. Jabari Smith is less than a year removed from being the third pick, but he's also had an uneasy rookie season. Then there are the picks. Rockets can offer number 4 and 20, which would be a nice thing for any team. But if that is the goal, the Rockets can also offer the full suite of Nets picks from 24 to 27. That was enough to help get the Harden deal done. Realistically, if Harden goes back to Houston, they could land a second star very easily with those assets.
And they have cap space. I believe Keith put it out today that they were going to have like $59 million in cap up to that this summer. Yeah. So, okay, you bring Harden back. Then you still have a little wiggle room to work. And you have all these assets. Imagine, say you get Harden back. You don't have to give up any of these young guys just to get Harden in the door. This team still could be a competitive team. You don't know what kind of jump these young players are going to take.
Yeah.
And then you also have the 4th pick and the 20th pick this year. And you have all those Nets picks when the Nets are clearly not going to be good for years to come.
Yeah.
Houston is in a great spot. They bit the bullet for a couple years after the Harden thing. And now they're ready to be back, perhaps with Harden. They have Ime there.
Low-key, Harden did what you have been begging players to do for years.
Yeah, good for him. Harden, who might have been the biggest rat of all time, redemption arc for Harden. Pretended to be fat so he didn't have to play for the Rockets, and now he's helped the Rockets get a wealth of riches.
For those who don't know, we were referencing the fact that Sam's always said players should just request trades from their teams, let their teams get a bunch of assets, and then just go back.
Well, I don't want to put it like that. I think they should, like, collude with their teams to screw other teams.
And it's kind of what
like
Harden
that's
did.
the ultimate loyal guy in the NBA.
Mm-hmm. Ironic, but
they go out
realistically speaking. They go out on loan. Realistically, like you look at some of these packages that could become available in terms of stars going out, like the Siakam thing. If the Raptors decide to blow it up, like could the Raptors trade Jalen Green and the 4th pick and another first for Siakam and OG Anunoby and like throw in another high enough salary, and then they could roll out? It would be like James Harden. You could run OG at the 2, Jabari Smith at the 3, Siakam and Şengün. Like that's a playoff team, right?
It is.
Am I crazy?
That's a damn
team.
Good team.
I think
really Jabari Smith's still going to be good, by the way.
Mm-hmm. And I love Şengün. I think he's real good too.
2K loves the Rockets, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like where else could you look? Look at the Bulls, right? If you're the Bulls, would you trade Zach LaVine and Alex Caruso for Jalen Green in the 4th pick? Hell yeah, I would. Are you kidding me?
I would. Pope
right?
Catholic. I would trade Zach LaVine for a second.
Right. Well,
$60 million.
If you're the Rockets, you could roll out James Harden, Zach LaVine, Jabari Smith, whoever, maybe like Jae'Sean Tate and Şengün, and then have Caruso off the bench. Again, that's a pretty damn good team, right? And even like, I'm trying to think of other options. If you're the Blazers and you want to pair Dame with Harden in Houston, I don't love that backcourt, but that's talent, right? It's talent. You get Dame, Harden, Jae'Sean Tate, Jabari Smith, Şengün, and you trade away the 4th pick and Jalen Green and first for Dame. The Blazers could have Anthony Simons, Jalen Green, one of the Thompson twins, Scoot Henderson, and Shaedon Sharpe to build around. That's a ridiculous young core. And then the Rockets roll out Dame, Harden backcourt, with like Jabari Smith, Şengün, and Jae'Sean Tate as the rest of the starters, and then they fill in the bench with veterans. Again, that's a damn good team. The Rockets are in a great position. And as much as you want to say, oh, maybe they build around their young core, keep going, like they could build a top 6 team in the West pretty easily, I think.
Yeah, I agree. This is going to be an interesting summer for a lot of these teams on the list.
Mm-hmm.
Except for maybe the number 1 team, OKC. I don't really know if they're doing a lot.
They could, but they shouldn't, I think, is the thing. Next up, the team that keeps getting alluded to, the New Orleans Pelicans. Only untradeable Zion Williamson. I know you...
He should be the tradable.
Disagree with that. I still think you have to give him more time. As much as it's frustrating, he hasn't been on the court, and we just did a reaction video to him.
His extension kicks in this year, no?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, he's going to get the bag, and he's just hanging out with the bag of fries.
His extension's actually not terrible, though. It's not like the 50 million one. He makes 33, 36, 38, 41, 44. That's really like, realistically, it's not terrible. However, let's read here. They have 8 first-round picks, 6 unprotected they can trade from Fred Katz. Pelicans were the number 3 on my big board for a reason. They can offer all different types of packages. Are you a team looking to bring back another high-end player for your star? Well, New Orleans can build something around Brandon Ingram. Are you looking to tear the whole thing down? Well, the Pels can help you too. They are loaded with first-round picks. They have potentially juicy 24 Lakers pick. Actually, that's a great point. That can defer to 25 if they please. They have potentially juicier 27 Bucks picks. Those are great too. Desirable young players: Herb Jones, Alvarado, Dyson Daniels, Trey Murphy, a 22-year-old who's getting better by the second. Now they just need to hope William can stay on the court. And even to your point, if they did want to build around those young guys instead, they could trade Williamson. Like, they have maybe the most flexibility out of a lot of these teams we've seen. Yeah,
it feels like they're ready to get over that hump too, like Orlando. It just depends on Zion getting healthy. All jokes aside, I mean, we talked about this on Saturday's clip, what we put out, where Zion can't get healthy, can't stay on the court. But before he was when he was playing, he's leading the first seed in the conference at the beginning of this season.
He's a damn good player. He's a damn good player. Just needs to stay healthy, but
it might be time for them to swing a deal. Maybe try and get off of McCollum.
Maybe. I think McCollum works for them because he's the guard, the ball handler you need. I think he's been good as their point guard. If I'm them, I look to deal like, if you're them, would you do a sign and trade? You trade Valanciunas and one of those young guys for Brook Lopez? Like,
maybe
Brook Lopez would be real good on that team, right? Even if you're looking to have like some Zion insurance, you play Siakam at the small ball center, Zion down there too. Have Siakam guard the big guys. You can trade. It would probably have to be Valanciunas' contract plus like a Alvarado or Trey Murphy or something with a pick, like you get Siakam on this team, you roll out CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, Trey Murphy or Herb Jones, whoever you don't trade, Zion and Siakam, like small ball, but that's a pretty good lineup. So they have a lot of directions they can go. Number 6, the Brooklyn Nets, only untradeable Mikal Bridges, which is interesting. Like they have said they don't want to trade him, but like he's probably one of the most valuable assets. I saw something on Twitter. Who's more valuable right now in a trade, Mikal Bridges or Jaylen Brown?
That's a good question. I'd probably still say Jaylen Brown, but there's arguments to both sides. There's Bridges' newfound shot creation. You've seen him go crazy playing for the Nets. He had 40-plus points twice. I don't think he ever did that before he joined the Nets.
I think the most brought up thing I saw was Mikal Bridges' contract the next 3 seasons: 21-7, 23-3, 24-9.
Oh, that too. Yeah, I
right?
actually agree with that.
That's crazy good value for him, for who could be like probably the second option on a title team, maybe third. Like he's real good. He's real good. But
I agree with that. But I think out of all of these teams, maybe besides who's the other? Oh my gosh, I'm blanking. There was another team that has no that was not this video. The Clippers are in a similar situation where they don't have their own draft picks coming up.
Yes.
So they have every reason to try and compete to spite Houston.
Yeah.
It makes sense for them to want to force these picks and force talent into their system because there's no benefit to tanking. It's the anti-Houston where, okay, say the Rockets swing and miss, they don't get Harden, and everything stays the same and they're not good next year. They have their pick again. They can just draft. Yep,
exactly. And the Nets, despite not having their own picks, can trade up to 8 first-round picks, 6 of them unprotected. Edwards saying, if Brooklyn is looking to get a 1A star to pair with Bridges, who I see as a 1B at best, it's fair. The Nets have a lot of stuff to work with. Brooklyn has 2 handful of pick swaps coming in from Phoenix, Philadelphia, and Dallas over the next few years. Cam Thomas might be of some interest to some teams. Dinwiddie's an expiring contract, and Dorian Finney-Smith could help any team. We heard Damian Lillard talk about this team as a potential landing spot, as he likes Bridges. They could offer a nice package. You trade, Cam Thomas, maybe Dorian Finney-Smith and Joe Harris's contract, plus 5 first-round picks or something ridiculous for Lillard. They could roll out a starting lineup looking like Damian Lillard, maybe Mikal Bridges at the 2, or you bring in another 2 guard, like you bring Seth Curry back, like Dame, Seth Curry, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Nick Claxton. It's a real good starting lineup. That's looking real good for you. Cam Johnson as the 3rd option is good. Mikal Bridges looks good too. You look at, they trade for Zach LaVine maybe. You can roll Spencer Dinwiddie, Zach LaVine, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Nick Claxton, and you trade the Bulls, a bunch of first-round picks, Cam Thomas, and a forward to help round things out for them. You look at Siakam, right? Like I don't think that's the perfect fit because they already have Cam Johnson, but you slide Cam Johnson down to 3, you're on Siakam at the 4, Claxton, like they can shift their lineups in a lot of ways to make room for virtually any star. Even if they wanted to trade for a star center, like Claxton's great, but trading Claxton for an upgrade at the center, like you get Towns in there, right? I know you don't love Towns, but with the defensive Bridges in there, with the defense that Cam Johnson plays, like you can make an argument that Towns could be better off on a team like the Nets rather than, chilling with Rudy Gobert in Minnesota. So I think the Nets are malleable in the sense that they can make room for any sort of star, and they do have a decent package. And those Suns picks, pretty good.
Yeah, they're
pretty
looking good. I agree. I'm interested about them, and I don't know who's next. I feel like Miami should be on this list too.
Maybe. Shall we see?
Yeah.
Take a look. The Utah Jazz, number 7. Untradeable Lauri Markkanen. I disagree. Yeah. I've written this a lot for Fansided. I liken Lauri Markkanen to DeJounte Murray in the sense that he's a first-time All-Star on a less than $20 million contract, I believe. This might be the highest his value ever is. So trading him now for a haul of first-round picks could be in the best interest for the Jazz. Like, you look at the Blazers, they want Lauri Markkanen. Would they trade the 3rd pick for Lauri Markkanen and Kelly Olynyk and a package of depth?
No.
You say no, but I'm not saying should they. I'm saying would they, right?
I hope not.
You look at the Rockets. Would you trade 4 in a package for Markkanen? You know what I'm saying? There are teams
Probably
around
not.
the league. I'm not saying you would personally, but there are teams around the league who could be eager to compete with their current teams, who might be willing to give up assets to the Jazz. And even if you're not getting a top 5 pick, right? Even getting if you can get 3 future first round picks for Lauri Markkanen, even 2 future first round picks, like that's still pretty good value for a guy you got in the Donovan Mitchell trade. However, if the Jazz are looking to push forward, they can trade up to 10 first round picks, 5 of them unprotected. Verkanov writing here, have you seen how many picks the Jazz have? Chandler Big Voices, can they be any more flush? Shout out, friends. Utah has all of its future first in hand, save for 124 protected pick owned by OKC. They have 3 Cavs picks plus a swap, 2 Timberwolves picks and top 5 protected in 2029, and a top 4 protected Lakers pick in 2027, and picks 9, 16, and 28 in this year's draft. They can offer any kind of bundle cable providers used to make bank on. The Jazz kind of reset the market for a bit, kind of. This is a lot of words. I'm sorry, Mike. What though? If the Jazz kind of reset the market for the kind of picks package a team needs to get to trade a star, they're also in a position. The Jazz have a lot of picks. I think. Am I crazy for not being able to read this? This is a word jumble, but.
The Jazz have a ton of picks.
Yes.
I was going to say as we got to this team, I'm not really sure that it makes a ton of sense for them to swing a deal, but at the same time, them not having their own pick next year makes me think maybe they do want to swing a deal to be a bit more competitive next year. Yeah,
I agree. I mean, the one thing I saw at the trade deadline is they were potentially interested in John Collins, which I think could be interesting. Like, would you do like Kelly Olynyk and I don't know what other veteran, like Jordan Clarkson if he accepts his player option, and like the 28th pick for John Collins, and then you could roll out a Collins, Sexton, Talon Horton Tucker, whoever, Markkanen, John Collins, Kessler. Like, it gives you more talent, probably makes you a bit more competitive. Like, I'm just looking at like C-tier stars around the league who could go for relatively cheap if you give them some depth pieces. Like the Hawks could use Kelly Olynyk shooting and floor spacing. They could use Jordan Clarkson spark off the bench, or what other assets you want to throw in that deal for him. And then they still have Ochai Agbaji as well off the bench, and some other young pieces who they could draft at 9 and 16. The Jazz are free. I'll put it that way. They can go in whatever direction, and they'll probably be fine no matter what they do. That's how I see it.
They have okay players on the young side too. Kessler was a beast last year, made
really
the rookie team. I was kind of surprised everybody. Traded from Minnesota as part of Rudy Gobert, and then he's kind of better than Gobert now.
At least cheaper.
I think we're all in agreement. So having him around, you have Sexton, who's a decent player. He's not terrible. He's not the best. Who knows what they do? That OKC having their 24 pick, though, does make me think a little bit more about this team than I would have before we did this list. Who knows?
Yeah. I want to see the protections on that. Let me look at that real quick. And how did they get it? They own the 24 pick. May or may not transfer depending on the Jazz draft position. Protected top 10 in 24 and 25, top 8 in 2026. And if it doesn't go top 8 in 2026, it'll be a 2028 second round pick.
So if I'm Utah, I'm punting protected as hard as I can.
Yeah. Yeah,
actually,
sure.
Yeah. So
trading
back everything I said. If I'm Utah, I'm not trading anything, and I'm trying to be terrible.
Sure. So maybe trade Lauri for some draft picks. maybe capitalizing value. But let's speed through the rest of them here. San Antonio Spurs at number 8. Number 1 pick is the only untouchable. Obviously, Victor Wembanyama. Duh. 9 first-round picks they can trade. 6 unprotected. Cat saying, I must say, I'm cleaning up. There's no way San Antonio should be around at number 8. Oh, they did this as a draft. I understand. Yep. So, like, that makes sense. The Spurs, who finished this past season with the worst record in the West, won't trade for a star. They're not close to that point, but if they lost their minds and decided to do it, oh boy, they can make an offer that compete with anybody. They can trade up to 9 first-round picks. Only Thunder and Jazz can trade more. Up to 6 can be unprotected. You're telling me you wouldn't want the Atlanta Hawks 25 and 27 first? The Spurs' young players have potential too. Keldon Johnson is good. Devin Vassell, Jeremy Sohan are good. They could hypothetically load up an offer, even though it won't happen. I think they're in a similar position to the Thunder, where they shouldn't do it, but they could.
Yeah, the only reason they should maybe think about it is if they really are in on Wembanyama, they see him for a bit, he dominates Summer League. Like, if you see a Spurs trade, it's probably coming August, September, when we have nothing to talk about, because they're like, oh my God, this guy's for real.
Or even
Let's give him some help right away and see how fun this team can be.
Or even like a December or trade deadline deal. Like if Wembanyama's really like, they're like 500 by December, you're like, maybe Wembanyama's even better we thought.
Maybe you do look into it. That's a good point. And then you have more of a actual feeler out on what other teams are doing, what positions they're in, things like that.
Maybe
San Antonio's an interesting team just because of Wembanyama. What are they going to do?
100%. All right, let's keep going. Number 9, Detroit Pistons, untradeable Cade Cunningham can trade up to 2 first-round picks when unprotected. That's surprising to me.
Wait a minute, how do they have no picks?
Yeah, let me take a look here.
How do they have no draft picks?
Pistons can only trade 2 first-round picks. Next year, their pick is owed to the Knicks somehow. They traded Trevor. It was from a Trevor Ariza trade in 2020. They traded it to the Thunder, I think. In 2025, they own their pick, but they can't trade it because they traded 2024. In 2026, they have their pick.
Okay.
Oh,
right.
wait a second.
As long as they have them.
Wait a second. Okay, yes, this is why. So their 2024 pick is protected. Okay, I'm sorry. This is very confusing, so bear with me quick.
As all tables are.
Of course. They traded it. It was top 16 protected in 21 and 22. And so this trade was a while ago. It's top 18 protected in 23 and 24. Top 13 protected in 25. Top 11 and 26. Top 9 and 27. So this is a first round pick that was from a Trevor Ariza trade. It's when the Rockets traded for Christian Wood. It's a Christian Wood trade.
Okay, that makes sense.
From 2021, but the first round pick is protected from 2021 to 2027, meaning they can't trade any of their picks unless they work out those protections until
similar
2029.
to the Chicago
Blazers.
Bulls. Oh, the
Blazers, who the Bulls own the pick, but yes. So that's very weird. Sorry, we had to work through that wrinkle here. Cunningham is my untouchable. If Detroit is urgent to speed up its rebuild, a package including Ivy, Jalen Duren, and the 5th pick in 2023 isn't a bad place to start. They have no reason to, though.
I think they have another year before they make any kind of push. They have to see what they get with the 5th pick, how good Jaden Ivey is going to be in his second year. Can Cunningham stay healthy? I think he just had a surgery.
Mm-hmm.
They've got some questions to be answered before they start firing from the hip here, making trades.
Agree. Number 10 on the list, New York Knicks, untradeable Jalen Brunson. I agree at this point. 8 first-round picks, 4 unprotected. I don't know how the Knicks fell this low in their draft. The Knicks feel like they should be pretty high up for me. Have you heard that the Knicks can make a great offer if a star becomes available? It's only been a talking point in New York for about 2 years. They had their opportunity to do it last summer, but didn't. What about next time? They have interesting young players in RJ Barrett, whose contract extension kicks in next season. Quickly, who will be up for a rookie extension this summer. Obi Toppin and Quentin Grimes. And they have 8 first-round picks up that can be traded in 4 unprotected. I think the Knicks package is one of the best out there, but maybe I'm seeing it with cloudy eyes. RJ Barrett looks like he can be a 20-point scorer on solid shooting if he gets into his efficiency back. Manuel Quickly is already one of the best 6 men in the league, has potential, I think, to be a solid starter. Obi Toppin and Grimes both have potential in their roles too. I don't know how this offer sheet isn't higher up on this list. I think this is a really good offer they can make.
Well, the Knicks also, amongst these teams, probably rank towards the top in terms of might actually make a trade for a star.
True, and could be good if they get playoffs.
They just lost out to Miami, and they might say, okay, we have some good pieces, but the team's not there yet.
Yeah.
But then again, there's other giants in the East, like Milwaukee's still going to be great. Boston will be great. Miami will be back, I'd imagine.
But you're telling me
we
if
have
the
to
Knicks
respect them.
You're telling me if the Knicks traded for Siakam or Zach LaVine, you don't think they'd be a top 4 team in the East? I think
Zach LaVine's not moving the needle.
I think he does. I think your version of Zach LaVine is he's bad for being the first option, but if you make Zach LaVine the second or third option on a team, he's really good, in my opinion. But
maybe. I don't know. Siakam's more interesting. Maybe get rid of Randall.
Fair. Yeah, Randall for Siakam. I think that makes him better. I think Towns would be the really perfect player for this next team.
Too.
But anyways, moving on down the list. We're almost done here, I think.
This list never stops. Oh, wow. My God.
We'll speed through the rest. Memphis Grizzlies, untradeable Ja Morant.
Is he?
Up to 6 first-round picks, 4 unprotected. Here's a team that feels like it's building towards a significant trade, especially after a first-round loss. They could trade Desmond Bane. He's deserved payday soon, but they have a bunch of middling guys like, trade Brandon Clark, trade Luke Kennard, trade Tyus Jones, and they have a bunch of first-round picks. They can trade up to 6 and 4 unprotected. They were in on the KD sweepstakes last summer. Didn't get it done. This is a team that feels ready to make a big swing depending on Ja Morant's situation.
Yeah, that's a big if. If he's suspended for half the season, I'm not doing anything.
Agree.
In fact, scroll up to the picks.
Yeah, 6 first-round picks. Here we go.
They've got it if it's the top 25. So If Ja's out, sit the fellas.
2024 unprotected. Yeah, they could tank.
I might tank if I'm Memphis. It's similar to what I said about the Mavs this year with Luka.
You know the whole thing though. They were better without Ja than with him in the lineup. Better record, better winning percentage. But I see what you're saying. Maybe you get a top pick. But number 12 Pacers. Let's speed through the rest of these here. It's already a long video. Untradeable Tyrese Halliburton. Sure, 7 first-round picks for him protected. If Indiana wants to grab a star to pair with Halliburton, it should be able to put a decent offer together. Turner, Mathurin, 7th pick, expiring contract to Hield, blah, blah, blah. Pacers also own the Celtics and Cavaliers first rounds in 2023. Sure, I'd rather just sit it out and wait another year, but I guess.
Thoughts, they don't have a ton of a reason to make a push. You think maybe? You're like, they're like kind of hanging on the outside of the playoffs. Halliburton was unreal, averaging a double-double as a point guard with the assists. But then you're like, is it really the time to make the push just yet? And the answer is probably no.
Yeah.
Plus, they only have like their own picks.
I agree. All right, next on here, number 13, the Boston Celtics, Sam. Here we go.
You know what's cool about this is that they have all their picks still.
What do you mean?
Like, the Celtics have all their own picks still. Usually, what do you mean, it's on your screen.
Yeah, they do, but they own San Antonio. San Antonio could swap. They don't have their 23 first, and they don't have their 29 first, or 28 first, I believe.
Yeah, it's it.
In the trade. But they do have
the majority of their draft picks.
Yeah.
All of the other teams that are towards the top are kind of gutted out with draft picks. I mean, just look at Milwaukee. That 27 pick will be going to the Pelicans. They use that for Holiday.
Philly,
no draft
doesn't have picks. No, Miami even doesn't.
Miami,
really have
not a ton of draft picks. Like, they're in a decent spot.
Can trade up to 4 first-round picks. How does the trade center on Jaylen Brown and some picks on D could be enticing? We know the Celtics haven't been averse to considering Brown in the trade talks before. Blah, blah, blah. The downside is that Brown, 1 year away from free agency, might lose some luster on another team because he's going to be paid a lot of money. Has all of it picks except for a 28 swap, blah, blah, blah. Basically, Jaylen Brown and some picks, not a bad deal. Let's get through the rest of this. Hornets at 14. LaMelo Ball, untradeable. 4 first-round picks. They can trade. Hornets have little to offer. Realistically, they won't enter conversations.
Oh, no, Hornets.
What do you mean?
They don't have their pick for the next 2 seasons if it's any good.
Yeah. They let me check the protections on those two because I feel like they'll be top something protected. 2024 first is protected top 18, top 14 in 24 and 27, or else it turns into a second. So they're fine there.
Okay, they're fine. They're fine.
And then they have 25, 26, 27 as well. So they're good.
Okay.
It's protected.
All right. Thank goodness for them. I was going to say they are in trouble if they don't have their pick.
I don't think they should be making a swing though.
Not yet.
No. The Raptors, Scotty Barnes untradeable, and obviously they have the Siakam, OG Anunoby. Sure. Yeah, right.
Like the whole thing about the Raptors is they're not trading for a star. The Raptors are a team that's completely just selling.
Well, they should be, except they are weird, and they traded for Jakob Poeltl at the deadline and look like they're trying to stay. Like, who knows what the Raptors are doing? They're weird to me. Lastly, and okay, that was the last one.
That's the end.
No Miami Heat, Sam. Thoughts?
Thought Miami should be there.
I think they should too. I think
Hero's gone.
I think Hero could be a good asset for them, yeah.
That's where Dame's going to go. It's hilarious that Miami's on that list, and Dame's probably going to be on that team next year.
Yeah, he just might be. But thank you for listening. Please subscribe. We appreciate it, and I'll let Sam wrap us up.
Yes, thank you for watching this video. It's exclusive to the YouTube. It is not on Spotify, not on Apple. You can find us there, though. How about them Celtics? Make sure you follow. Listen on the go. You can subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell to get all the new videos to your inbox. We're trying to do 1 a day per the summer. Keep you busy, keep you up to speed with the NBA, and enjoy making content. At How About Them C's is the Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok for us. Facebook is just the name of the podcast. You can follow Jack at JackSimoneNBA on Twitter. You can follow me at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.